There he.
Hello,
I
Craig.
I miss it. I miss his
Craig.
voice. I miss his voice. So crisp.
It's freaking Craig. Craig
Craig's
Bot.
recording us right now.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Does this audio go into a separate audio file that saves on your computer that you can edit whenever you need to?
So there are two options. I can either download the whole thing as one audio file, or I can break down each one of us into separate audio files.
Oh, that's so cool. You can separate our own voices.
Mm-hmm.
I like that option a lot when it comes to things like editing, especially.
If I had time, I totally would, but I usually just go with just the one format so I can just pop it all up.
That's what I'm
Less
talking
work
about.
for
Mr.
me.
Aiden. You just like send all of that data onto a flash drive, just like drop it off at my house, and I could scroll through it and edit it. And when
I'm
we
not
all
opposed to
inevitably
that.
become famous, when we all become big YouTubers or streamers, make our own games and stuff.
Our little posse is going to be called the Craigbot. We're the Craigbot crew.
The Craig
Trademark.
boys.
Trademark.
Oh, I like that. The Craig boys.
Craig
Yeah,
boys.
well, Mr. Ian's part of the boys now. He's part of the
He's
eventual
indoctrinated.
goal of all of us in the boys are eventually going to just become famous.
A doctored? I don't even have a master's yet. I'm getting there. The classes are getting harder, and it makes me sad.
Ooh, perfect.
All right.
Well, Hollis has not shown up yet.
I know. We've
Yeah.
given him plenty of time. So he's
Yeah,
going to be
like,
a
what?
little upset.
Oh well. I guess we could just wing it. This will be first time.
Here, I'll message Mr. Harry Potter himself.
All right, what are the topics of today's podcasts?
It was going to be Revenge of the Sith and random topics afterwards.
I feel like
perchance we could talk about
I know this
how and remember this is a practice one. This isn't we'll
We're just
hopefully we
winging
can
it today.
talk afterwards to kind of be a little more organized for the next ones.
Oh yeah, by the way, I started recording on my end.
You know
Awesome.
what I really enjoy? I feel like the podcasts, I feel like we shouldn't just constrain it to film club. I feel like if we were just to constrain it to film club, and then eventually expand off into different topics, it wouldn't essentially be a film club podcast. I feel like this sort of podcast should be its own thing. It's like one of Mr. Ian's it should just be a hobby, and you can have your students join in on your podcasts and talk about discussions about things that you guys do as a form of extra credit for your class. And what's called, you can make highlights of your podcasts and show them to your students. Because I feel like that'd be a really interesting thing. You can post, you can have a board up about podcast discussions that your students can write down and then guest star as.
You know, I have thought of something like that, but I just didn't have the technology when I first thought of it. And if it wasn't for the 21st century grant that we currently have, I wouldn't have the microphone that I'm talking into. I wouldn't be able to purchase the editing software that Film Club now has. I've always wanted to kind of talk to students about what um, a variety of topics, and that could be something that could be quite
That
interesting to be
should
like,
be
hey,
something.
here's a and
I think that should be something because I feel like not only like your students, your clubs, I'm sure like a lot of people in the entire school would be interested in, like even teachers would be interested in coming on and talking about stuff.
Can
And-
you have
and
an
I think
idea?
You
that
At one
the-
get your
point,
fellow coworker teachers to join the podcast, and we get to all talking about stuff.
Eden, didn't you try to convince the teachers at one point to play like Among Us or something?
I did,
Didn't you
and I
t-
got a
you
bunch of blank
did.
stares, like I was from a different planet. I'm sorry that I found the game quite
Dang.
fun at the time. Students were really enjoying it, and instead of like what I wanted to do is I wanted to try to get some teachers on Google Meets, or let's be honest, they wouldn't be able to use Discord.
Yeah,
and try to get some of them together and then try to record a session and while I record it on my phone and then put it out there like teachers playing Among Us, something silly that would just be for the school. And instead I got not a single teacher response, which is really upsetting. I just think it was bad timing. A lot of teachers at the time were not in the best of moods for many of reasons. The pandemic, having to work from the school through a hybrid like model, all of those kind of factored into probably like disdain when they thought that I was just trying to uplift spirits by like, let's play a game kids are playing. So
Let's relate to the younger audience.
that's what I was thinking. Let's try to relate to some of the students. I mean, but yeah, it didn't really falter through. I think what we should do then, if we're going to talk a little bit about Revenge of the Sith, if we even get to that
Yeah.
topic today, I think the main thing we should probably talk about in this is how do we want to format this for future episodes? Because I think I'm perfectly fine with calling this one like episode 0 or episode
The
1.
the pilot
The-
episode.
episode
yeah, the
0, the start
pilot.
of something new?
Yeah,
Question
the
mark.
pilot.
Yeah. So
Just know I'm
Yeah.
recording right now.
Oh, go ahead.
I had to make a recording, and my wallpaper is just essentially just a wallpaper from Revenge of the Sith, and I'm not changing it. So it's going to be very misleading. It's going to be very misleading
Oh,
if we don't
no.
talk about it.
I still feel like we can talk about it some. I just don't want to alienate
Some bit.
Joe who hasn't seen it. I'm pretty sure he's seen some memes about
Joe, we gotta play this on
movies.
Discord. We need. You know what, Joe? Can your DVD player put Blu-ray in, or one of
Yeah.
your game consoles? I'm making you watch Revenge of the Sith this week. Like whatever time you get, I'm making you watch it. I'm bringing my DVD over. I'm bringing my Blu-ray.
All right.
You're missing on some finely aged wine that took just a little while just to actually age well.
Yeah, I don't mind. We can invite all of our friends over. Mr. Ian can come over.
Yeah.
I'm
We could.
quite the busy individual as a father and as a husband and a college student, and I do some teaching on the side.
Wow, this man, he can do it all.
Hey, I'm on that.
I didn't
I'm on
want
that
to.
same boat as
I didn't
Flo
want to
right
do
now.
it all.
I honestly didn't want to do college, but it's like I don't want to keep waiting. And also now I'm doing like more voiceover stuff now because I'm in my closet. So hey, I got a lot more responsibility on my shoulders.
Yeah, like I feel like even though like after 2020, like COVID started and like a lot of stuff was shut down, I feel like now is a really good time to like start hobbies that you couldn't really start before because of other things that got in the way. But like
Well, this
now that
Mhm.
everyone has the social distance, I feel like a lot of people can work on themselves and do things that they've always wanted to try.
Yeah,
right?
this is like a start for me. This is just a
I've
starting prep of
always
it all.
I've always kind of wanted to start a YouTube channel. I was afraid that because I was a teacher, it was going to be this, haha, he doing this YouTube channel. That's so silly. And at first it was. If you were to look back at my last year's like 2018, 2019 videos, which was only like 10 or 11, they were really horrid. And I'm not saying that the videos I'm making now are like pristine. They're not like, hey, look, I'm the next Markiplier up in here. But I will say that the quality has gotten significantly better. And I'm actually starting to have, even though it's technically students, a little bit of a following. I get at least 40 to 50 views for a video, which is not a lot, but it's a starting point, which is something I never thought I would have. You hear of so many channels that like blow up instantly and then they're dead. So maybe I'm not trying to like make money off of this. Sure, that would be kind of cool. I could be like, hey, Film Club, we actually have money and it's because of these videos we're making. But honestly, I've always kind of wanted to do a YouTube channel and do these podcasts. I just didn't have time. And I think you're correct, Joe, that this is a time where if you have a hobby or you want to do something, this is the time to do it. Or go.
I think this is going to be a great episode 0.
I hope so. And then hopefully, if I get the word out to some students, maybe we can have like 1 or 2 show up next Tuesday.
Make it a project. Make it extra credit. Listen to our podcast. Write some paragraphs on how you thought about it, and that's extra credit.
As long as after this episode we actually get together, either on here or elsewhere, and we actually come up with a format of how we want to do this. I think so one of my favorite podcasts that I listen to is called Sardonicast, and they talk mostly just about movies. But my favorite part of their podcast is the first 30 minutes where they just talk about random topics, and the last 30 minutes, which is where they take questions from their Reddit and they kind of answer them as a group. I'm not saying that we should pilfer some of those ideas, but I think it could be to our benefit not to reinvent the wheel.
I like that idea.
Also, there's I didn't even think this was a thing, but there's this thing called the internet, and I went to Google, and if you type in question generator, there are question generators. So like here, I'll just go to this one. It's called the random question generator. And you click on it and it has over 300,000 questions already built into the generator, and they're just random questions. What are some unusual places you've been? I'm going to click on it again. What's the most critical thing for a healthy relationship? Probably not good for our podcast.
These are some real deep thinking questions.
Right?
When
was the last time you walked for more than an hour? What belief do you have that most people disagree with? These are some decent questions.
Pineapple deserves to be on pizza.
I would agree with that, and I don't think we should discriminate against any fruits. What's wrong with strawberries on pizza?
Okay, but that's the problem.
Bananas.
Okay, you're just making a fruit pizza at that point. Just make a fruit pizza. And I bet
Is
you
a
I
fruit
look it up
pizza
and
a
somebody's
pizza?
made a fruit pizza. It if it's shaped like a pizza, then it is a pizza. Yep.
If it's shaped like a pizza, then it's a pizza. I'm gonna be so
Yeah.
upset when I tell my kids that their wheels of their bicycle are made of pizzas.
No, you should just say fruit pizzas to really throw them off.
Oh. I actually think there is a fruit pizza. It's like
There is.
it's a graham cracker crust. I know this is off topic, but it's like a graham cracker crust and like a yogurt for your your pizza sauce, and then you put your fruit on top and you sprinkle it with cheese. You don't cook it. You freeze it and then you eat it. It's pretty good.
I've actually just looked up pictures of pizza dough, like actual fruit pizza, and it actually looks tasty.
I don't think anyone here thought we would be talking about fruit pizzas. And
But this
there
is
he
the
is.
pilot episode, so anything goes.
Anything
Apologies
goes.
if I'm interrupting at
About
all.
time.
No, we were just
Sorry, I was
talking
at work,
about
I was at work.
pizzas.
Pineapple
Pizzas?
on pineapple pizza.
You know what?
Yes.
You do you. That's my kind. Like, I understand sweet and salty. I just don't really like I don't like tomatoes cooked on stuff. So I'm not gonna like pineapple cooked. It's nice when it's crunchy,
Oh, not even it's normally cooked anyway. I don't like pineapple cooked.
and that's fine.
That's the
Like,
That's a misconception. Most people think, "Oh, you like pineapple cooked." No, I still like it when it's like cold on the pizza.
that's like if you tossed it on fresh, maybe I'd like it. You know?
Like cooked, no, that's gonna ruin it. It's gonna ruin all the flavor.
Yeah, it's like if you fried watermelon. Watermelon is good
Uh,
on its
yeah,
own, but it's not as
fried?
good when it
Ugh.
like dissolves. It has to have a little crunch to it, you know?
I don't like when someone cooks fried watermelon because it looks like steak and it's
Yeah,
quite
but it's
misleading.
not steak. It's just bad. Also, can you hear
It
me all
makes
right?
me
I'm on
want
headphones,
steak.
so
Yeah, it's okay. I
Yeah,
think
Okay.
there's picking
this
up
is
just
just
a little bit behind you.
was
I
there
think.
was there an actual subject? Because I forgot what it was.
We were
yeah.
gonna
Our
talk about
subject for
Revenge of the
today
Sith.
is for the
I
most
didn't.
part we've kind of hijacked this to be kind of a nothing burger, just a wing it, if you will.
This is a
Uh-huh.
So
pilot
that we can
episode
be a
at this
little more
point.
organized for the next episode.
Is this the podcast?
This is definitely
Yes, this will.
Okay, that's great. I'm making a sandwich, so I'll make sure I mute my mic while I'm chewing, so our podcast isn't just ASMR. Hollis eats a roast beef sandwich.
We can make that a sub episode. We can make that a
Ready,
sub
ready,
video.
ready?
Hi, welcome to the ASMR podcast.
I just retitled my thumbnail about Revenge of the Sith, and now it's not even.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It will be fine.
I'll just, you know what? I'll just go ahead and just say not about Revenge of the Sith and just keep it like that.
Look,
I have
we
one thing to
can-
say about Revenge of the Sith. It is the best of the prequels, and I hated the prequels until I got Reddit. Reddit has single-handedly made me look at this terrible thing and go, the memes.
The memes.
I will say
Also-
that film is so good, not because it's a good film. It's not. Objectively, it's a
It's-
terrible
Revenge
film.
of the Sith is the
but
best of the
The
three, though.
memes.
Yes, it
Yes,
is by a long
absolutely.
shot.
But that's like
Also-
saying that dog turd is worse than that dog turd, and you're a trash can. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like the
like-
trash can is technically better than a dog turd. At
Well,
least
that's
it's
the ma-
useful.
I will
That's
admit
true.
as well. I'm gonna admit this. I think Revenge of the Sith, as it grew older, yes, it's still bad. It has. I remember I watched this on New Year's, and I'm like, oh, this is why it got so memed. But when you think about it, I still get hit by the finale pretty hard. I actually do.
I didn't.
Mm.
I remember I saw this a couple years, like way long ago. I was probably 2013 was the first time I saw it. But also, would you guys agree with the statement that everybody makes fun of the line? You know, I'm haunted by the kiss that you never should have given me, and I don't like Sand's line. But like, if that had been in Pride and Prejudice, everyone would have lost their minds.
The thing is that Pride and Prejudice was written intentionally as a joke. It was never meant to be a romantic story. So Pride and Prejudice is it was supposed to be a satire, and it was so well written by Jane Austen that it became this phenomenon afterwards. And it's perfectly fine to have something that's supposed to be a satire of those type of books and also still be really, really good. Whether she would use that, like if Jane Austen was alive today, she probably would use a line like that intentionally to mock both her own writing and also Revenge of the Sith. And it's a horrible line.
I found out today that both Obi-Wan's hair in Attack of the Clones and Anakin's hair in Revenge of the Sith were wigs, and that hurt my soul for some reason. Just a little bit.
I kind of knew about that, but I never wanted to press on it because, like, that's cursed.
I mean,
It's so.
they did a good job at least.
Yeah, they did.
But like,
does it?
That does kind of hurt my soul.
Reddit has made me love things I thought I would never like, because I was hardcore on these are terrible since I watched them, because I was like 8 or how old would I be? I don't know. Whatever. I can't do math. But however old I was, at the
You were
time,
8.
less than 10.
Trust me.
I didn't have a critical eye. I can't see. Oh, this is a bad thing. There are good parts of it. Like the lightsaber fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin is still really cool.
It's okay at some points.
It is, and like I like the little details. Like, you know how there's that scene where both Anakin and Obi-Wan are just like, yeah, no, that's right. They're both like just swinging their lightsabers at each other, like, but they're not hitting each other.
Yeah, it looks like they're just missing each other. Yeah.
That's there. Apparently, there was this guy. He's a fencer, and he was saying that's called a counter parry, where it's basically circling your opponent's blade, and what the other person did is they did a counter parry, which is where they're both going around. It's basically a game of chicken. But I think the reason that George Lucas chose that specific move is you have to know the other fencer well to do that. Because if I'm just fighting a stranger and I try to do a counter parry and he does it, he doesn't really know what my fighting style is or what he's going to do. I thought that was neat.
Yeah, and you got to think as well, like, even if we don't get much, like, development between Anakin and Obi-Wan between episode 2 and 3, you got to think it's really, like, gut-wrenching to see, like, master against student, brother against brother.
I haven't seen Clone Wars. Like, I've seen some of it. I actually read a bunch of the, like, you know, the Samurai Jack comic style?
Yeah.
I read a lot of those, and I read some of the other comics, but, like, those really developed their friendship.
Clone Wars developed a lot of things. Like, it was that perfect opportunity to branch between episode 2 after the finale and then just before Revenge of the Sith.
Uh-huh.
And even kind of the first Star Wars cartoon even did that. Like Star Wars Clone Wars cartoon. They kind of even touched that on as well.
Yeah. And like,
hey, guess what? Lamato, your
What?
your thumbnail is no longer a lie.
I'm still keeping it not about Revenge of the Sith just to throw people off. Yeah, so quick thing. I'm just recording. I'm recording on my end as well, and I just have this thumbnail with a wallpaper of Revenge of the Sith, and at the top it says pilot episode, and bottom text, not about Revenge of the Sith.
That's the whole gimmick of the podcast. Is just
but now we're talking about it.
Not about Star Wars. Not about.
Well, we're talking about it, but I'm just too lazy to fix it now, so I'm just like, it'll be fun. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
See, I don't
Anyway,
I don't know if you
Do we
guys
wanna-
have seen Clone Wars. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just had a little insignificant detail. Feel free to continue.
Oh, I was gonna say if we wanted to move on to something else, if we want to continue with that, Joe has muted his mic.
I'm okay with keeping on this, but if we want to move on, that's fine.
we can honestly pick this up another
willing to
time.
move on as well.
We could pick this up another time, actually, like for Revenge of the Sith, like fully get into talk about it. Just make a whole episode about it.
Yeah, we could do a
Star Wars
full episode.
Joe,
of
I'm making you
just
watch
Star Wars.
episode 3.
I would say if this is going to become a like podcast thing, I think we should probably have at least a loose topic of discussion because
Absolutely.
I want to be
Mhm.
contributing something I'd watch. And as much as I love like the Gus and Eddie podcast, for example, I love them as creators. I don't like their podcast because it's just kind of a conversation, but it's not things that I care about. So even if it's just a loosely bound structure, I think it's good to have something, you know.
Right. I like
All
how
spouts
this
are
podcast.
back 20 minutes.
I like how this podcast is basically turned into what should our podcast be about and how do we organize it?
It's
And then we
like,
talked about pineapple pizza and fruit pizza, and now finally Revenge of
Right.
the Sith. We're making progress.
There's this.
I think so.
How long
This
have we been going
theater
for?
About 30 minutes,
We're at our
maybe a little
halfway mark.
longer.
Yeah, I lost a little bit of 10 minutes. I had to do a second recording, so
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Oh
well.
Just note, I have to leave at 4:50 because I have to pick up my children.
Oh,
right, those
Yep, I have to pick up my kids at
children.
5.
Sorry, guys, I can't talk right now. Gotta go get the children. Wink.
Okay,
Careful.
but this podcast episode is basically the equivalent. There's this musical theater group called Star Kid, and in their space
Mhm.
group, they introduce themselves, and then you just hear they're like, and mic off, and they're like, guys, what the hell are we gonna do here? Like, we have no idea what we're talking about. And they're like trying to
Wing it.
figure out what they're gonna do for the tour. That's the equivalent of this. We're presenting it as just like, yeah, Mr. Eaton's epic, awesomized paraphrases podcast, and then it's just like, what are we doing?
And then bottom title, not about Revenge of the Sith.
No, bottom text is just bottom text. That's what makes it fun. Extremely
Bottom
deep fried
text.
bottom text.
Bottom text. Extra.
In parentheses,
Now
Hollis
including-
joins and dominates the conversation for 20 minutes like normal.
I don't think that's a bad idea. Like, however we want to start the podcast, whether if it's just like, how are we doing for the week or whatever, if we have like a specific topic we want to talk about, and then in the middle of the podcast, we can focus on like one specific thing, whether it's a movie or an idea or a game or a book or it doesn't really matter what, as long as it's a specific thing. And at the end, I would kind of like to end it with like, just like some of these generator questions, just random questions. Eventually, if we could ever get like a Reddit started and get people to ask questions, we could use
have a Reddit.
those. I
You
know.
have a subreddit.
Or
if you
what
ever
I could do is I could just ask my students. I can hijack my journals and force them to make questions for us,
Yeah.
and I can pick the best ones.
Making kids work for us.
You could always do like a debate too, if we ever
Getting
want to.
grades off
I would say if we do debates, it has to be over something useless and not actually practical. Like, which haircut do you like better in Star Wars rather than do you think drone strikes are like something serious?
Yeah. I think something that is, and we can argue about, that doesn't like is super serious, I think is best, because there are too many podcasts out there and there's too many videos out there that's like that cover serious topics. And I don't think this podcast is meant for that. It's supposed to be for entertainment value. We're not going to try to push an agenda. Speaking about my agenda, let me get mine out real quick. I'm kidding. That was a joke.
You should guest star your children. You should, like, for fun, just be like, hi guys, welcome back to Mr. Eaton's podcast. This is my address, my Reddit username, and my children's current location. This is what my car looks like. This is what my license plate number is. And this is where I
my
will be
Cash
at
App.
given times
Send
of
me
the day.
money if you want.
This is
It's
my
not like
least
I'm
favorite
forcing you
child.
already.
To know more all about this, I just need your mom's 16 credit card information.
I wonder, like, someday if his kids are gonna like watch these, and at that point we'll all be like creepy old men, and they're like, "What in God's name did they?"
We'll probably all be dead.
Oh, wow. I hope to
I'm just saying.
survive 2021, at least.
You
If
wait
not
until the
more.
rewind.
This was the year all those political scandals were happening.
Oh my gosh. The Mr. Eden.
This is how democracy falls.
With
Grandpappy
laws.
was hosting his own podcast when Donald Trump scandals were going on.
Yes, made it.
I heard he
Recording
did it because
Breitbart.
he had depression. Oh. What if
Your
these
new
things
empire.
No one
What
see
if
it.
this
I'm
thing
just
blows up after we're actually done with the podcast, like 6 years from now? Someone finds it and they're like, "Have you listened to this podcast? It's the best thing," and it just blows up. But by that time, we're just all done with the podcast. It's like,
We've all
should we
moved
get
on.
the gang back together?
Obviously,
it's the
Somebody wants to
equivalent of
donate like $1,200 just for this episode.
Yeah.
it's the equivalent of like finding racist tweets, but it's just kind of like mediocre content from the mid 2020s, the early 2000s. They're just like, hey, so I know you like own a bank now, but this thing called the Mr. Eaton podcast, and you argued that the Youngling Killer 9000 should be the official name of Anakin's lightsaber for 16 minutes. What's up with that, bro? At this point, there will be a religion established around, Star Wars at that point, and the prequel worship will be rampant.
Oh, I
So
can't
it
wait
will
till the
become a
prequel.
nation.
sequels.
It's the joke where it's like Palpatine's talking to Anakin. He's like, "So, did you get the children?" And he's like, "Yes, I took care of them." And he's like, "So you brought them here so we can train them as Inquisitors?" And he's like,
About
it's
that.
funny thing.
Oh,
They were playing
Yeah,
hide
you
and seek, okay? I couldn't find them all.
I took care of them.
The
You
fact that
gave
we
them
all
milk?
laugh-
I gave them something. What did you give them?
I shed a little light on the matter and shed a little light through them. I mean,
Remember that one? I remember this brings me back to an episode of Robot Chicken where they just like parodied episode 3, and it's like Anakin to the children. It's like, okay, close your eyes and think about the happiest thing in your life. And it's just Anakin closes his eyes and he's in just a flower field and he's cutting up flowers to send to Padme.
I've seen
And as
that.
he-
That's so
yeah,
funny.
and when he only backs up his eyes, all the younglings are just killed right in front of Padme. That's what I'm just picturing.
I'm gonna send a meme. I don't know if my friend made it. I think I just got it off Reddit, but it has. You know how Ewan McGregor couldn't like not laugh when he said that there were younglings being murdered, so he had to cover his mouth.
Mhm.
Well, it's a picture of that, and Padme looks very distressed. And she's like, "You just told me that Anakin killed younglings. Could you please stop beatboxing?"
No, I know that one. I've seen it. I know.
So funny.
I'm on our prequel memes as well. I know the ways.
Well, you're
I will
probably on
say
Reddit
that
as
is
much
the
as I
best
am.
part about the prequels are the memes.
Ewan McGregor is just.
He's
I spent
God.
like 5 minutes learning the Obi Annie spin yesterday, just because.
Can we come to realize that not all lines in Revenge of the Sith have been memed yet?
Yeah,
There's still like
some
half
of them are
still yet to
really
be
boring.
memed. Yeah, it is, but still.
I like the idea. There's a YouTube channel. I don't like them as much as I used to, but it's how it should have ended. They're still pretty funny, and I love the joke that every time they like parody the Star Wars universe, like Anakin Skywalker's Vader is just this like super overexcited dad. So in the version, he just gets like, "Oh, I have a son? Did you know about this, Palpatine?" And he's like, "Yes," and so he kills him. And then when it comes to the prequels, they find out certain people are certain people's children. I won't spoil it in case you haven't seen that not amazing movie. And they just, "Oh, you have a grandson? I have a grandson!" And he's just going around telling anyone that will listen to him. How does Craigbot record this? Like, what will like, I know how it records. I'm wondering what is it? There's no picture, just an audio file.
Yeah, so it sends me 2 separate audio files. The first one is all of the whole conversation together into one, and the other one is split individually between each one of us.
Okay.
So
That's
you'll
cool.
have an audio file, and you'll have an audio file, and I'll have an audio file. We all have an audio file.
So an audio
Um,
file for me would be like, so I'm eating a yeah, and then I went to do that.
No,
Audio.
it records everything. So like if it's just one audio file, all of the interruptions and such will be there. So like if you interrupted me and I interrupted you, we would hear that. But if it's separate audio files, whatever you were going to say would be crystal clear. Same thing if like Lamada was talking at the same time. And it's just a way to like if we needed to edit like in the future different audio files together so it doesn't sound like we're all trying to talk at the same time.
Yeah.
That's probably how a
But
lot of podcasts work. But I mean,
That's a probably good way to do it. I think also at the end of videos we should probably specify who we are simply because I mean we've all got different nicknames here. Just I think.
oh yeah, we should probably do that. Like that would be great for the first episode. We should all introduce each other. Like, hello, I am
not
Mr.
very,
Eaton.
like, yeah, Liam did give me the nickname Homicidal Harry Potter, but not very people know me by that. So I want to clarify.
Yeah, my nickname Lamato is just it came from an old group of mine, like a very very old group.
Ryan, did I ever tell you? So, I know you like Yu-Gi-Oh and I like Yu-Gi-Oh too. I got 2 dual discs this year.
Oh my god, you did?
I did. I got the Chaos dual disc from the filler season, filler calc, and I got the traditional Battle City one. I've wanted one of those for so long, and they're so stupid. Like they serve no purpose. I can't use like cards in a little protective case or anything, but like they look cool, and it was worth the money.
They're so cool. It's worth it no matter what.
I
Now
spent.
that you mention it, they're only $100.
Okay, I got them cheaper than that. I spent too much money on them, but I got them like they were on Facebook Marketplace. I was like, "Yo, you gonna sell this?" And they were like, "Yeah." And it was like $100 for when I was like, "Hey, could you drop it down if I went and went to get it?" And so I think I ended up getting 2 of them for $100, which is a lot of money for me. Like, but
like 100 together or 100 each?
100 together.
Well,
Because I
that's
was gonna
good,
buy the first
actually.
one. It's really good. That's about what you would have paid for. A little more than what you would have paid for them originally, but still. And like, Yu-Gi-Oh was probably one of my first like animes that I watched. I remember seeing it when I was like 4 or 5, and then I rediscovered it, which was really weird. And I'm a freaking, I watch a lot of anime, but it has that like significance. And so we were going there anyways, and so we picked him up, and I was just like, so happy.
I
Hey,
don't
I'm
mean
glad
to
you got to do
interject,
this, man.
No, go ahead.
but I have an idea.
Yes.
So
You have all the ideas.
so
In our final
if we're I know, right? So I stated that I think the way that this podcast is gonna start going is like we do the introductions, and then we do the random topics, whatever that is, whatever we want to talk about in that middle section. What if instead of it just being like a thing that we all decide ahead of time, what if that middle section is something that each one of us pick for each podcast? So like, for instance, for the 15-20 minute middle part, Joe gets to pick what the topic is for next Tuesday, and then the next Tuesday after that, Lamato, and then the next Tuesday, whatever. And then again, the last 10, 15, 20 minutes or however long it is, we'll do the random questions.
I wonder, is there a way we, rather than always doing it on Tuesdays, can we like kind of schedule at the beginning of a week? Because like
we could probably do it on a Monday.
Okay.
Improv Club really hasn't been doing anything.
I don't want to schedule like everything around me because I have a weird schedule, especially coming up. Like the musical is going to be like 3:35, so like they don't have it Friday. But like if I'm the only conflict, feel free to do the podcast without me because like I don't want to hold up for that. But
I'll admit, honestly, Monday is probably going to be way better for me because Tuesdays is like classes that I have to do, and I have to go until 3:30. So
see,
Monday would be a lot better.
When the musical starts, I will have
between 5 and 6 that I'd be free, but that's after we'd be doing it. And if that's just how it is, that's fine. I think Friday is probably the best day for me, but that not
Fridays
that's not
would be my
necessarily
worst,
here.
TBH.
Hey, I mean, there's no like reason where we can't it's called. We all just talk regularly, and we find a day when we're all free. It doesn't need to be a certain day.
See, I'm thinking like that, and then because if more than one people have a conflict, and maybe I can get in on a day that a different day that I can do it, and then if it's just me, that's fine. I'll skip that podcast, and I might be out for a little while, but I'll be back in eventually.
Hmm.
So yeah, just want
There's a good chance I might be able to make it for like the first few podcasts, but since college started back up and I'm stuck at home and I'm probably going to be changing up my work schedule where I work, I'm probably going to be working more during the week and weekends are going to be more free for me. So I don't know how that's going to be affected with the rest of you.
weekends are not terrible for me most of the time. It's just
Weekends, go ahead.
It really
I-
just depends on my work schedule because I don't go to college. I just work, and I've usually just been working day shifts for the past month, ever since the new year. And I think they're going to keep me there. So I really am free most afternoons, almost every time.
Yeah, and I'm done working Saturdays. I want to have whole weekends off and just work more during the week, even during college. So weekends I can just have time to sleep, have time to work on stuff, and even probably, maybe do voice recordings, even hang out with friends. So that's why I'm doing that, and that's why I'm bringing it up. So right now, Mondays are probably going to be my best chance, and maybe Wednesdays as well, if by chance. If anybody's free on Wednesdays.
I'm always
Hmm.
free.
Also, Ryan, message me on Discord. I'll send you a pic. Unless the group wants to see dual discs, but I don't know about that.
No, you can personal message me. You can
I'll
just
do it
DM
on
me.
Discord.
So
Also, side note, quick side note. So I'm still recording, and I have my thumbnail. And when Hollis mentioned a dual disc, I just decided to get a PNG image of a dual disc and put it on Yoda, so he looks like a duelist.
What you got to do, you don't get a transparent background.
Mm-hmm.
You get one of those checkered background that lies to you about being transparent when you're trying to edit a picture. So it just looks terribly edited.
This looks totally edited. So, and I've already lost, and I didn't get the first 10 minutes, so I don't know what else you want from me.
Just first 10 minutes contained a detailed and very cultured, reverent discussion about.
No, I
Revenge of the
lost
Sith.
the first 10 minutes, even before you were here.
No, I know, but you say that so the audience thinks that's when the real Revenge of the Sith content was, and it was so good, guys. And we lost it.
it's
Also, you gotta realize,
Yes.
as I was doing this, I was also putting text over my thumbnail as well. So it's I was switching
Nice.
between not about Revenge of the Sith. About Revenge of the Sith. Oh wait, not. I was about to do fruit pizza instead of it all.
Fruit pizza.
We did have a good discussion about pizza.
And especially fruit pizza. Now I want to make a fruit pizza.
I just want
Okay,
pizza.
before we end today's podcast, or before I bounce, anyways, when
I think
are we
this will
going to be?
the end.
When are we going to record our very first episode? Then is it
this
going to
not
be
the
on
first
Monday?
episode?
Is it going to be a different day?
Next Monday I think works for me.
Monday would work for me
Monday?
as well.
Monday
It's
at
Okay,
12.
and then-
what time Monday actually? Just ask that. Before 5?
Probably 3, maybe 3:30.
This week I can do that, yeah. Unless
3 would be better for me because that'll
Sure.
give me 2 hours before I have to pick up my kids. The
Yeah, fun thing,
closer
I'm
it is
stuck
to
at
4, the less I can do.
that's fair. Unless something changes in the next week, I don't know if rehearsal starts or anything, but as I am aware now, I'm good personally.
And I don't think I agree with Joe. I don't think we have to schedule I think we just need to figure out the very next week when we're recording.
Yeah.
I think that'll
When we're
work.
all available, really.
In
Yeah.
all honesty, on what's called, I'm free on the weekends too, because I know you guys don't have school Saturday, Sunday, but what's called.
Yeah, I have possibility weekends too.
If
Mhm.
we were to record on the weekends, there might be some noises behind me, which are called my children.
That'd be fine.
That could be an issue.
That's life.
And
fun.
at night, the wife would most likely want us to watch our shows.
Go get a sensory deprivation tank. Put it in the basement, like a homemade sensory deprivation tank. You go in and record it, like slowly going insane, hearing your own voice. And you like come out of it at like on noon on a Sunday, and you're just like, it's recorded, it's edited, no children noises in the background.
I don't think I'm doing any editing on this one. I think I'm just gonna post it and then put a thumbnail picture.
I'm gonna.
Well, I don't
I'm
know
gonna
what
stick with
it's gonna be
the
yet.
classic. When I leave, I'm gonna stick with the classic. Yeah, I am whatever my name is, and signing off. So that doesn't have to
I have
be
a
Picture
good-
of Craig Bot as the thumbnail.
Craig Bot.
Honestly, not a bad idea.
I have. I will show you all the thumbnail once this episode all wraps up. I will show you what I've just been doing on the side, just on my side of recording.
Right. Well, you have to bounce soon. You got like it's like 4:48.
Yeah, I got a couple of minutes before I gotta bounce.
Before we wrap up, what are the things we went over in today's podcast?
Good question.
Pizza,
Good question.
Revenge of the Sith,
I feel like that's a good wrap-up question for every
Fruit
podcast.
pizza,
how and why to kidnap Eaton's children for personal gain,
dual disc.
setting
dual
up
discs,
our podcast.
ASMR
Right.
sandwich eating.
Yeah, that was a majority of it is just figuring out how we're gonna do this, and I think we have a better understanding of this. So, who wants to pick the first topic on Monday for the middle section?
I'd say since it is your podcast, like it's run through your thing. I would
Well,
say
I mean,
you-
it's technically
unless
mine
anybody has an
and
idea.
Ryan's.
Either
So
one of
it's-
you. I
I'm
don't
the one
mind.
recording as well. So what? I can't think right now. I leave it to you, Eden.
Well, I guess
I'll go
technically you picked the first one, Lamato. You picked Revenge of
I
the Sith, did
technically
you not?
did. Yeah,
Yeah.
I technically did. And you know what?
We
It's
have
fine
an
enough.
entire week, guys. Chill.
But you know what?
Yeah.
Honestly, I do want to save Revenge of the Sith. Like, I actually want to get into a full discussion about it.
I
Honestly,
feel like that
this
would
was,
be a
And we
good start.
can. I did.
yeah, like another
I-
time. Like this was okay, but I want Joe. I'm gonna make Joe watch Revenge of the Sith sometime.
He hasn't seen it?
No.
That's a good one. It's a good one to watch, my guy.
It is.
Okay, I will Discord. I will put what I think. I'm thinking about logical fallacies. I'd like to go over a few of those, but if we want something more show or just a
Let's
an
talk
overall
about Doctor
topic.
Who, a very encompassing topic that everyone obviously has seen.
I
I-
have not seen Doctor Who.
Never.
It's been a long time since I've seen Doctor Who. At least Matt Smith was the last Doctor. For me.
I like Paul. I'm not getting into it though. That'll make me upset.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, why don't we we go end and then we will leave.